something?
I don't know. I'm
So
going
it's
live,
pronounced
by the way,
Neanderthal,
y'all.
not
It's actually not to be
Neanderthal.
confused with a similar subset of the species, the Neandersmalls.
Ah,
Ah,
very good. Very good.
very clever.
Nice.
Where's my freaking phone?
They were like hobbits, the Neanderthals.
That's right. That's actually it's that Futurama joke. Why does Ross, the biggest friend, not simply eat the other four?
It's not-
I don't know that. I didn't really watch Futurama.
That's oh really? Futurama's a
I'm
great
really
show.
a Futurama guy.
More of a Family Guy guy, huh?
I guess so. I like American Dad.
Oh wow, that's
Really?
esoteric as
Yeah.
fuck, man.
Actually, I mean, if we're gonna be real, like really real, King of the Hill is my shit. That's
What if we were fake,
Well, all
though?
right. I mean, King of the Hill is King of the Hill is definitely
Okay,
worthwhile.
if we're not lying, you know,
Mm,
if we're
yeah.
NPLing, then I
Well,
don't
to
like
tell
King
you
of
the
Hill.
truth.
Well, to tell you the truth,
Well,
I like
I'm not
Yes,
racist,
you-
but I like Futurama a lot.
Yeah.
TBH, Beavis and Butthead's always. I love that.
Oh wow, Beavis and
one.
Butthead. That's a throwback, but yeah,
Dude,
Beavis and Butthead's
great,
good.
great show. Absolutely great show. It's mindlessly dumb. I loved it so much.
There's something about the voice acting in that show in particular that was just so weird.
Yeah.
Like, do
Everything
you imagine
about
somebody
it-
just like somebody
really
just fucking
weird.
sitting at the fucking mic in the booth, just
Yeah.
Okay, was that one good, Rodney? Okay, we'll do it again. You know, it's just like
Yeah.
the fucking,
Weird stuff.
I'm sure it had to be strange. It's like South Park though. They actually had like a 4-year-old doing Ike's voice.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You motherfucker! It's just like literally a kid, and the dad's like, "Come on, say it, son, say it." Read your lines.
Are we
All
live
right,
now?
check. Yeah,
think
we
we
are
are
live.
live,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
We're already flagged, by the way. This video's not gonna make any money because I already cussed.
Okay.
I am really loud.
About to let you in on some dirty secrets.
Oh no!
On what
I'll
dirty
have to Do
secrets?
it off air.
Oh,
I'll have
off
to
air.
do it off air.
Oh,
Dirty
okay.
Secrets off air.
All right. We're
No,
off
no,
our
it's nothing.
secrets. Playing at the Winnie Roast.
Oh dang it! I was gonna make that. You beat me to it.
Ah, you liar.
Still really loud.
Rascal.
I'm gonna get our live chat going on in case.
Yeah.
Hornet
Hornet.
Hornet face. The infamous.
Whatever his name is.
The
So
one
I
and only
just-
Hornet
That's right
face.
in.
Oh yeah, Hornet Face. I went to the most amazing small town Saturday and Sunday
Oh, on
Oh yeah,
the
tell
right.
us about your ride.
on my bike ride. Oh, it was incredible. I'm still like high from it.
Oh,
Um,
dang, dude.
Pretty good.
Those are bad though.
we rode. Me and a couple of friends of mine rode to Death Valley, and to ride through Titus Canyon, which is about 30 miles of canyon, and it goes from California to Nevada.
Mhm.
And
Check,
what
check.
I failed to realize in all my research of going to Titus Canyon is it's a one-way canyon. You're supposed to come from the Nevada side all the way to California, not go the other way. And there's even a sign that said close to eastbound traffic, but I don't know directions, you know?
Huh.
So, but it was, we were on motorcycles, so we were able to squeeze by, but all these people are coming at us from the opposite direction, giving us dirty looks. And we're like, what's everybody's problem? You know what I mean? Like other motorcyclists
Yeah.
pass us, and usually you get the nod and the wave or the 2-finger wave.
Yeah,
They're not-
usually
they're
real
staring
friendly.
us down, and no one's friendly. We're like, what the hell's going on here? And then we get to the hotel later, and it was these great old gals. One of them talked just like this. You know, but she's
Ooh.
talking about Filipino
That is-
Ted, and it was awesome.
Filipino Ted.
Filipino Ted is not Filipino, by the way. I knew that instantly because I'm from a small
Freaking
town.
fraud.
But right, they just call me that for whatever reason. There's a guy named Cash, and there's a guy named this, and she was going on and on and on. And then I mentioned that we'd ridden through Titus Canyon to get here. She's like, "You did? That's only a one-way road." And I'm like, "I'm telling you right now, it's two ways because we rode through the motherfucker.
we made it a
Yeah,
two-way
then how
street.
We made it a two-way road. I didn't mean to. It's just how it worked out."
Well, at least you could ride
Oh.
back, without trouble.
Well, we didn't ride back to the canyon. It kicked our asses so bad. It's
Oh,
30,
really?
30 miles of canyon, guys. A lot of canyon.
Huh.
It was pretty rough at spots. It was definitely at the edge of my bike's ability for sure, and mine for that matter too.
That was your
but
scrambler
there was
bike,
a-
right?
What's that?
Your scrambler bike?
Yeah, it is a scrambler, but it's still a street scrambler. You know, you can do
Right.
fire roads, but if it gets pretty hairy, you're like I said, you're at the bike's limits.
You're
I mean, it
kind of
did it,
stretching it.
but you're definitely bouncing around a lot and stuff. But we still did the whole ride because once you're in it, you're in it. There's
Yeah.
no spaghetti
What are you gonna
turning
do
around.
once?
That'd be
Yeah.
fun. But there's actually a ghost town in the middle of the canyon.
Oh, did you
Just
guys
be a
stop
lot-
and take pictures?
Absolutely, walked around and stuff. It was so
course.
cool, and we went up to this one part, and then we were trying to get down this other trail, and we just were walking through the hillside to get the trail. And one of the dudes found an actual can that had been opened by a knife or something from the 20s, because that's when this town was, early 1900s to 26 or 28 is when they abandoned it, basically.
Wow.
It was
That's
just
awesome.
up in the hillside, like it wasn't part of the town. So he just found somebody had eaten some beans or whatever, but you could see where someone had chopped it with a knife in the lid and then pried it open. It
That's
was really
crazy.
cool. And there was an actual
Dang.
mine shaft, but it was like it had been welded. Bars had been welded over it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that, but then I zoomed in to where the entrance was, and you could see those horizontal bars
Yeah.
that they had welded over. That
And
was awesome. though.
Somebody's pried it open enough that if you're skinny enough, like
Ben?
Ben, you could have gone through there.
Yeah,
Daniel, you might have been.
I don't
My
know.
tits were too big, so I couldn't get in there, but I tried like hell. But one of the dudes I was riding with, he's a young dude, so skinny enough, so he was able to squeeze through there. And I'm like, hold on, let me go get my flashlight. So I ran back and got my flashlight for my bike, and he would way the fuck back there, like hundreds
Whoa.
and hundreds of feet, dude. And I'm like trying to get in there, trying to squeeze, and I couldn't get my chest past, so I couldn't get in. But I would have gotten in there if I could have.
Too fucking burly. Man,
How
you know?
yeah?
Barely.
How defeated
Too
were
much
you
of a
though, Dad?
jest.
I've shrunk down like an empty bag of emptiness.
All right.
I was pretty pissed off. I couldn't get in there, man. I wanted.
And then he was actually he was glaring at
tried
the
twice.
bikes on the way back. You know,
Yeah.
like further past the ghost can. He was like, "Fuck you guys! I couldn't get through the bars."
I know. And the dude who got to the bars, when he come back in, just kind of slid right through me. You fucking bastard.
That's
Why.
why you always bring butter.
Well, next time I'm
You
bringing
got
a jack so
Or
I
a
can
fucking,
jack that.
yeah, like a pry bar or
No.
something.
We need like a
Country
floor
crock,
jack, not a
bro.
floor jack. Country
Country
crock.
crock. Yeah.
Definitely
booby.
Irish butter is the right way to go.
No, what's the greasiest
Irish
butter?
butter.
You got to go margarine.
Butter flavored Crisco. is the
Margarine, yeah.
easiest.
Mhm.
Yeah,
gotta go
yeah. Actually,
liquid
Crisco is
plastic.
really the real.
Ooh,
the
it's
one.
Tamara.
real
Oh my
grease.
God, Tamara's calling us nerds. Are you kidding me?
Wow, you're calling
That's
us
a-
nerds?
is
I've
that
seen
a-
your
is she trying to
stream, bro.
offend
I know
you?
what
Yeah.
you stream.
We're talking
Yeah.
about movies, Tamara. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we're
want
not-
to hear it.
Why
Talking
don't
about man shit.
Oh, so speaking of
you
which,
know, butter,
Um,
Crisco.
That's right.
And
Yeah, we're talking
sliding through
about
bars. That's
ghost
only
towns.
men
Sliding through
slide
bars.
Tourism,
okay?
all the
Right.
manliest things.
Camera.
Speaking of nerds, I bought a dedicated sat nav for my motorcycle,
Oh.
and it talked to 3 different satellites while I was on the way there, and I never got lost. Dedicated
make-
sat nav.
How did
Dedicated
you
sat
make
nav.
bike gangs lame?
We found a way.
So speaking of which, like we're riding there on motorcycles and stuff. We got packs on us and shit, and I'm feeling pretty cool. And then we get to Johannesburg, California. It was our first stop to get gas and everything. And these dudes are already there, but they're on like old school choppers with hardtails.
Yeah.
And the one guy's got, and they're barely wearing what would be passed as a helmet. And the one guy's
Right.
wearing overalls
Like
and
skull
no
caps.
shirt. And he comes out with a fucking tube of beers, right? And he's strapping it to the back of his bike
What?
with a bungee cord, and then he has a gas can hanging off it. And we're like putting gas on our bikes, and we're looking up there, and we're looking at them. I'm like, those dudes are way cooler than we are.
And then you were like, "Hey, look at the snat nav," and
Yeah.
he's like,
Exactly what I was.
and he's like, "Ooh, oh man, you can't get those on this."
I actually did that. I'm like, yeah, you guys are pretty cool with your beer and your gas can, but did you see my dedicated sat
Yeah.
nav? And everybody,
Excuse me, sir, but how many
Yeah.
satellites can you talk to?
exactly, with your
Okay.
hardtail
Mhm.
in your
Do
beer.
you ever get lost? I'll bet you do. I'll bet you get lost all the time.
All that beer you're drinking, that's unsafe, by the way. No, they're actually really cool. We took pictures of each other. You know, we all
Oh, nice.
worked out of our motorcycle. No, that's
I lo-
really cool.
Yeah, I love this. I love this biker culture where it's like, you know, it's less like Hell's Angels, like child's like prostitution rings and fucking, you know, drug running, and more
Well,
just like,
definitely
look
now,
how
yeah.
cool your bike is. You know, it's,
Well, that is what's cool is like even though we're all on, you know, it was 2 Triumph Street Scramblers and a Ducati Scrambler, and like I said, these dudes had old school choppers, and they weren't old guys.
Right.
They're probably
Oh,
in
yeah.
their early 30s, whatever. But it's not like they're really old guys or something with giant
But
long beards.
they're
and
more
stuff.
into the old school hard
Yeah, yeah.
or whatever.
But it was still cool all the way around. Appreciation. This is what I've always, since I started riding a motorcycle, what I've loved about owning a motorcycle is you're part of this club now that you don't have to join. You don't have to go to meetings or anything. Like when we pass each other, it's the 2-finger wave because
Mhm.
we all know how fucking cool it is to ride a motorcycle. And it doesn't matter what motorcycle it is, whether it's Harleys,
Street bikes.
scooters even get the 2 finger wave. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
Oh,
As long as you're
like
two-
a
Really like a
crotch
moped?
rocket's gonna be fine. Like
Yeah.
you
I
do
would
the-
love to see
Absolutely.
Ben roaring past on a crotch rocket and
yeah.
vroom vroom. Oh, there we go. Tokyo
But
Drift.
he does
little-
it.
I think
With
those little
his
Honda
knees up
Ruckuses
next
are
to
so-
his
are
chin.
so
Even the
nifty.
Ruckuses, I'll give him the 2
I've
finger
been thinking
wave.
about getting a
Yeah.
car, but I'm looking at like fucking SUVs right now. I'm like, man, Rav4s are pretty cool.
No
Join
one's
the
gonna
SUV
2 finger
club,
wave you
man.
in a Rav4. Okay, I'm
Rav4s
just
are
telling you right
pretty
now.
cool.
Yeah.
No, they are
So you-
cool, but
you
don't
can get
get
a
2 finger
Jeep.
wave you.
Cool,
You
man.
get that Jeep Wrangler.
Join the Jeep Club.
Yeah, I don't
Jeeps
know.
are
Hold
kind
on.
of like a little bit of a
Have
crew
you
as
seen
well.
the new Ford? The new Ford OJ Simpson.
Does
it
it
called?
like
movie?
kill it? Does it
No, no,
kill
no,
your
no.
wife?
Have-
Like what the
Does it
fuck?
come with
They're
white gloves?
re-releasing the Bronco.
Bronco.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, the OJ Simpson
Oh,
wrote.
I did.
that movie.
I
Dude,
did
that
hear about
thing
that.
is fucking rad. Check out the new Bronco. It is pretty tight. As kids say.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for. I have been looking at cars lately, trying to figure out which one I want. But I want like a hybrid, you know. Like I don't want to have too much of an impact on like the environment and stuff. So
Well,
like,
Ben,
I
you're
mean,
really
no.
watching your carbon footprint, aren't you?
I'm
Yeah.
definitely-
Don't get me
yeah.
started. Don't get me started on the
Very-
batteries.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Look, I want a car. I want a car with a battery that makes the car go. Every car has a battery, but they don't all make the car go. So
They make the car
Mhm.
start. That's
Yeah.
going. That's going.
bah,
Does that help?
bah.
Tamara says she'd expect Ben to get a little scooter.
I'm telling you, dude.
Like a Razor
Howard
scooter?
Wolowitz.
Like a bird, you know, like
Yeah.
Or a
bird.
Vespa. I
Like a-
could definitely see Ben on a Vespa.
I could see Ben in a GoPed.
GoPeds are awesome. Little
Yeah.
lawnmower engine on the back of that thing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Absolutely.
Just get a John
man.
Deere, bro.
I just watched. There's like a GIF.
an actual
of,
lawnmower.
What's that show with Perry the Platypus in it?
Phineas and Ferb.
Phineas and Ferb.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a GIF of that where like he's riding. The Professor Doofenshmirtz is his name. He's riding with his daughter on the back, and some dude in a Harley like rolls up next to them, and he's like, "Hey, you're pretty cute. Why don't you get on the real bike?" And the dad looks over, and he's a fucking mad scientist, and he's like, "She's 16!" And then he just shoots the guy with like a fucking disintegration ray and kills him. The guy like screams horribly. It's amazing.
Jeez.
Wow, thanks Disney Channel.
It's like
Disintegration rays.
I mean, you know, sometimes you just gotta murder. Like, speaking of murder, in
Speaking,
defense of your daughter,
speaking of murder,
why don't we talk about Nocturnal Animals?
exactly. Great segue. So
Hold on. I'm sorry. I got something going on. I got to get into this. I got to leave. Sorry.
Are you like
I gotta make a
leave?
phone- I got to make a phone call. Yeah, I can't be on the podcast tonight. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
I got to go.
All right.
Love you.
Later. All right. Hold on. I need to swap the. Hold on. The overlay is gonna be weird.
Last minute changes.
Last minute dropout. Okay. That and then this. Ben.
Why is there a black bar in my face?
I'm getting rid of it. There we go.
But Danon, why?
Hold on.
Is
Yep.
man.
There we go.
Meh. All right. Well,
Check this sweet graphics change. You didn't even see that coming.
Pit stop.
Yeah, is everything? Oh, hold on. Yours is off, sure. Okay, but yeah, speaking of murder, we watched. Sorry, I'm still fucking with the graphics. We watched Nocturnal Animals for this past week. So I'm very interested to see what you guys thought of this because this is not a fun movie. The way I've always like described.
that's a way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, whenever I tell people about Nocturnal Animals,
Zero
I'm like,
fun.
yeah, you have to be in the right mindset to watch this movie because it's not a movie you want to watch with friends and at a party or something like that. It's very
It's not a movie to speak during.
no, it's very emotionally taxing. This movie it's pretty fucking rough.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's written and directed by it's based on a book that came out in the 90s or I think.
Hold on a second. You're telling me that this is based on
This
is the plot of the book that somebody's reading a book?
yes.
What the fuck?
I think.
I mean, it made
Maybe.
perfect
Yeah,
sense for me
no,
in the context of a movie, but
I-
like the fact a novel about somebody reading a novel, just write the novel.
No, it's got to be
It
meta,
can't-
bro.
okay, it can't be the first time that a book has been about someone reading a book, though.
That's because everyone fucking writes about themselves, Jeremy.
Yeah,
Well-
well, they talk about that in this movie.
That was the.
That's true.
Yeah. So that doesn't surprise me too much. But yeah, it's directed by a fashion designer.
Not
Tom
even
Ford
just
is a fashion
a
designer.
fashion designer, but it is Tom Ford, who is like a huge name in the fashion industry. He's the guy that revolutionized Gucci in the 90s and brought them back from bankruptcy. Like he's
Yeah.
a pretty big deal. And then he launched his own brand, which is Tom Ford, and his stuff is
Right.
really cool. I really like his stuff.
Oh, I haven't
Um,
looked at any of his stuff. Tom Ford, huh? Let's look
Yeah.
it up.
So
He's a fashion designer, and you can tell.
I mean, everybody looks pretty good in this movie.
they do. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
And this is only the second movie he's ever directed. His first one was A Single Man, which has Colin Firth in it. And he,
Yeah, I saw the cover.
yeah, he produces a lot of his own stuff. So a lot of his own money just goes into making these movies. So it's kind of interesting where this guy he just loves movies so much, and he just wanted to. Dude, I'm getting so many problems. I never have network problems, but now the stream just fucking quit on me. I think we're back. Okay, we're back. All right, sorry about that disconnection. Had some connection issues.
All right.
But yeah, so anyways, he's a really good director, and I haven't seen A Single Man, but I do want to check it out pretty soon here because I like this movie so much. But yeah, this movie just kind of like it was one of those movies I just saw on Netflix, and I was like, whatever, I'll watch this. And I got my emotional ass handed to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's
No
pretty
fucking
rough.
kidding, man.
How about the intro to the movie though? It's pretty shaky. It's pretty.
This
You're talking about
intro,
the older,
the obese women.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they're obese. Yeah, they're definitely plus size women, just like shaking their shit. But they're like older too. I mean, that's like a big part of it is that they like. I mean, I guess from the esoteric art world, it's like the true human body or something like that, right? It's definitely it's a bunch of like larger than life old women dancing in like stripper clothes, essentially. Marching band influenced stripper clothes.
Burlesque, probably.
I guess burlesque,
but less.
like,
I don't
they
know.
were
It does
specifically
straight up
wearing
look like
marching
one
band
looks like
helmets.
literally like a conductor or something.
Yeah,
you're
like
right,
that
you're
was
right.
that was
and
like
shit.
legit marching band stuff. But either way, like, I mean, the opposite of what you would consider to be pleasing to look at. And then I guess part of the exhibit was these very same women lying
taking a nap,
like dead. I think they were supposed to be dead. I don't know if it was actually them. Like it seemed like it might have been, what's that kind of art where you're like doing something, performance art. I guess it was like it may have been performance art, or it may have just been like wax models of these very same women. I couldn't really tell, but like they seemed like they were dead.
Yeah,
they did actually.
Pedestals.
I wasn't sure if this was like a eyes wide shut kind of thing going on here, because then they're like, I didn't know what was happening. Look, that intro goes on for a minute. It's not like a little.
No,
Here's
it's
a
long
little.
time.
Here's a little taste of some. You could say plus size. I think they even. I don't know. You're right. Well, let's say older plus size naked models, and it just keeps going and going, and there's like 5 of them, and they're going and going, and then they're like taking a nap on the risers or whatever.
Well, it turns out the video we've been watching is the art gallery.
Video.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's all the women in the same art gallery on pedestals, stark, like beautiful marble pedestals, flat, sheen, everything. And they're in the same outfits in like what looks to be like death positions. Like they're like, like with their fucking
face down. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like they look dead.
Yeah.
Which I
but
guess
it's art, man.
Oh yeah, sure, exactly. Well, that's the funny thing about it is we learn almost immediately that one of our main characters, what's her name?
Susan.
Susan, yeah, Susan, the director of the art gallery, doesn't give a shit about art. So it's like, it's amazing because it's like, oh wow, yeah, art. This feels like the art world, and then immediately the main character, who is the one who put on the exhibit's like, yeah, this is all a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
So I want to come back to that intro though. Because I don't know why that intro is so significant, you know, and like why it's shown so boldly. I don't know how to describe it because it doesn't really fit the rest of the movie.
Oh,
What
no,
do-
I think it totally does.
What do you think?
I mean, first of all, it establishes what Susan does and the life that she's chosen. But more importantly than that, I think that it actually highlights a big thing about the kind of the overarching theme of this movie, which is that life is ugly and then you die.
Okay,
So, I mean,
it's pretty.
Yeah, that's interesting.
that's
an
what I
interesting
took
take on
from
it.
it was just like, we like no matter how pretty you are, life is gross, and I think these women are probably like the most like legit women that we, I guess, or women's not the right term, but like the most legit people, the most earnest people. It's like they're literally nude, showing all of their flaws. That one girl's got like the C-section
Big
scar or whatever.
Scar, yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, I mean, they're ugly, they're unpleasant to look at, and they're dead. So it's just, I mean, that's how I took it, and then, I mean, that's how I took it immediately, and then I watched the rest of the movie, and I was like, okay, yeah.
All right, it's an interesting
Yeah,
take on
I
it.
don't know. When I was thinking about it on retrospective, and this is a theme throughout the entire movie, not really a theme so much, but I feel like this happens a few different times in the movie, is it does feel like this movie is constantly trying to shock you a little bit.
Oh yeah,
They're
absolutely.
trying to shock
Absolutely.
you.
Yeah.
Things are really crazy in this movie, and the art in the movie sort of reflects that too. Like there's another little piece of art that's not really as prominent in the movie, but it's like literally a stuck cow or something like that, like a dead animal carcass
Right.
hanging
full of
out in the
arrows.
center of this spiral staircase, and it looks
Right.
dead and ugly. You
And
know,
there's also the in her own home, she's got a painting of a guy holding a shotgun
yes.
pointed at another dude in a
Yeah.
field.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I think that the art in this movie has a theme of just being intentionally shocking, and I think that this intro and the movie in general, I mean, like we'll get to it, but there are characters that and things that happen that are shocking, and they're so over the top shocking. It's like, I know what you're trying to do here, man. You're trying to really get a rise out of us as the viewers, and
Yeah.
I think the intro is basically letting you know right out the gate, like, we're trying to shock you here, you know? And it's like, you see the plus size models and you see them a couple times, and then you keep seeing them, and then there's another one, and then there's another one. And the opening credits, they go on for longer than you think that they should.
It's like 5 minutes. It's a very
Yeah,
long
it's
time.
like 5 minutes. And it's
Right.
like, that's longer than you think an opening credit scene like that, with that much nudity and that much, you know, sort of like Ben said, it's like, you know, sort of ugly, realistic women, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right, because it also, like, the movie, for as crazy as some of the characters are, especially in the novel that she's reading,
Mm-hmm.
because I guess if you're listening to this podcast and you haven't seen the movie, which I don't do that.
Go watch this movie.
Yeah, but basically the point of the movie is that there's the real world where Susan lives and she works for an art exhibit and she's unhappy with her marriage and her life. And then there is the book that she's reading, which was sent to her by her ex-husband, and that has its own subplot. Like, it's like a movie within a movie.
Yeah.
In terms of how they did this screenplay. And in that, it's funny because the novel she's reading is extremely grounded. In fact, I would argue that the novel she's reading almost feels like real life, and her life almost seems like
A fantasy.
Like a
like
fantasy,
a dysfunctional fantasy. Yeah,
Yeah.
like maybe a nightmare almost.
Yeah.
Like,
And they
Yeah.
say that. That's funny. That's funny you mentioned that, because she has that conversation really early on in this movie. I think just a couple of scenes after the opening, was she's talking to her friend, who's also in the fashion world.
oh right, she's
And
in the office, I think, right?
He
Or-
literally, I think they're at dinner or something like that, and he's like, she's saying how it's kind of hard to, her life feels a little bit rough or a little bit hard or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what? Just enjoy the absurdity of this world that we live in. That's what he said. I thought it was a really good line, actually. He's like, just
Right, because
enjoy the absurdity
he says
of this
is
world.
a much better world than the real world. That's
Yeah,
right.
because he's like,
okay.
the real world is way harder.
Interesting.
You know?
I didn't pick up on that at all. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's the who is that? It's the older British gentleman.
Yeah, he's in
the
a
guy that
million
looks like
things.
Simon Pegg if he's like
Yeah.
if he was like.
I
more
always
serious.
think it's Simon Pegg. It's Michael Sheen.
Michael Sheen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's Michael fucking Sheen. Man.
Yeah.
God.
Very famous British dude. But so she gets sent the manuscript to her ex-husband's newest novel.
It's called the proof.
The proof, yeah, and it's called Nocturnal Animals. And I don't know if they ever. I was looking out for this last time I watched it, but I don't think they ever say it. But Nocturnal Animals was the nickname that he gave to her when they were together.
They do, yeah.
Did they mention it? Maybe like once.
In the third act of the movie, she tells.
I didn't pick up on that, but
she tells it to her
interesting.
British friend in the office. She says he always called me a nocturnal animal
Oh,
after she
okay.
asks whether she's been sleeping.
Okay. So yeah, she gets this book and she starts reading through it. Edward, who is the is it Edward or is it Tony? It's Tony is the no, it's Edward. Tony's the guy in the
character
novel.
in the book. Edward is the author.
Yeah. So
Right.
Edward in the real world. Edward is gonna be in town in LA, and so they're gonna go meet up, or like they're gonna.
Well, he
invites
invites her
her
to meet up. Yeah.
He invites her to go get dinner. And so in the meantime, she's reading this book and figuring out whether or not she's going to go and meet this dude. And we also get these really quick glimpses too of her current marriage, which is failing. And we're pretty sure that Armie Hammer, who's playing her husband, is cheating on her. Like,
With
it's
a
I
very,
think
very,
we're pretty sure. I think we're 100% positive.
yeah, it's pretty
Right.
it's pretty heavy-handed. It was like, you didn't
Which
come to bed last night.
at first it's obvious that he's cheating, but it wasn't obvious until another scene or two later that he's cheating with another man, that he's actually gay.
Wait,
Is
no,
it?
no, no, what?
Is it?
No, he's
Is
he's
he not
got
gay,
a,
or is she just relating because her friend's husband is gay?
Her friend's husband
no, her
is
friend's
gay.
husband is gay.
I didn't
Oh,
catch
okay.
I didn't catch. Any
Okay,
kind
I
of-
thought that probably went over
It's
my
not
head.
actually. Sorry, it's not her friend. It's her brother.
Who.
Cooper. Cooper is her brother.
Her brother's gay, but the friend that she's talking to,
That guy is. Well, I don't know if that guy's gay, but Armie Hammer gets off the plane in New York, and he's already got some like hot young thing hanging on his arm. And when he answers the phone after she calls him and says, "Why didn't you answer why didn't you call me to say that you got there safely?" He's got like, some thought on his arm.
so he
I think,
never mind.
I think the implication is just that he's like, a womanizer or whatever.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
But
I mean, Armie Hammer.
but also
He's really
like
Good.
she
Pretty good looking
definitely
dude.
she definitely doesn't seem like she's not unaware. I mean, this is one of those weird like rich people problems. LOL.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, my husband's cheating on me, but like, who cares? I'm gonna go cheat on him with the guy that wrote this book, my first husband. Which definitely feels like the implication when we get to the end of the movie is what she's like totally trying to do. And then she like tries to psych herself out of it when she wipes the lipstick off. She's like, "Oh, this is too much." So
Mhm.
I
was very
can't.
nervous
I
about
can't.
it. Yeah.
I can't be a thought. He's not gonna like me if I'm a thought or whatever. But yeah, before we get to that, there's like so much. I mean, I think the novel itself is actually probably one of the best parts of the movie. Is just the plot of that novel is so brutal, and like I said, so grounded in realism. It's pretty fucking impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Speaking of which, we get into the novel. So she starts the novel, starts reading it, and it's this family that is going on vacation, but they're going on a road trip, and it pretty quickly gets into the night scene where they're just on this like two-way road, and they're just trying to go along, and then trying to get around this dude, and it's like 2 a.m, just trying to get around this guy and this other car and get in front of them so he can pass them because they're going too slow, and passes them, and then these kids in the cars start fucking with them, and getting really close to them, and kind of almost getting to the point where they're about to hit them, and like just kind of like drive them off the road a little bit and just kind of harass them, drive up next to them in the opposite lane and stare them down and stuff like that. And then it gets to the point where they actually do like get into a fender bender, and so they make them, they force them off the road. This family off of the road, so
yeah,
they can
they literally like ram the car into the fucking dirt.
Yeah, and then they're like, to get insurance information and stuff like that. But now you have this family. It's the husband, the wife, and then their daughter.
Their daughter.
Yeah, just on the side of the road, 2 in the morning, out in the middle of nowhere. I think it's
It's
West Texas. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just nothing is out there, and no one else is on the road. No one's passing or at all. And so now these other 2 cars are on the side of the road that are full of these punks, basically, and it's a Kick-Ass.
Yeah,
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Taylor.
Yeah, this is the first role of his that I like really paid attention to after Kick-Ass, because he was in like the 2014 Godzilla, but like who cares? But he really doesn't act anything like Kick-Ass in this movie. It's pretty night and day, his performance.
He's like a monster. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's a really good character actor. If you watch that guy, in I think he was in something pretty recently, where he's also like incredible. But yeah, so there's this this back and forth basically where they just start harassing the family more and more and more, and then they're like, oh, you have a flat tire. Obviously, they shank the tire so they can fuck with the family more, and they offered to like change the tire, so they go do that. And then it's just like the tension that you're feeling during the scene. You know where this is going. You basically understand that like he's gonna get abducted, or his family's gonna get abducted, or something bad.
They're gonna get assaulted.
They're gonna get assaulted. They're gonna get dragged off the side of the road and shot, or something. Their car's gonna get stolen. They're gonna get stranded. Something's gonna happen. And they do Tom Ford does an amazing job of immediately, as soon as these things start happening, even when they're driving on the road still, is you have this sense of unease, and it's not a good sense of unease. I mean, like there's a good one, but like you just have you have like there's this tension in you where you're just like, and the scene is so long, like it goes on for so long.
The guys fuck with them for so long, and you can like I really appreciate how Tony's character like tries to be composed, tries to keep his family out of it, tries to like very like things go slowly worse and worse and worse, and then eventually there's that moment where fucking Kick-Ass is like he's like screwing around, he's like dancing and whatever, and like and the guy Tony turns around and is like at the top of his lungs. It's like one of the most realistic shouts I've ever heard in a movie, because he's literally at the top of his fucking lungs, like high pitched, shrill, get the fuck away from me, like as loud as he can, just. And honestly, it's like one of those things that's really disconcerting. And like I said, it's weird that it's in the novel portion of the movie, because that's like very realistic kind of thing. It's like one of those things where you're like shouting so loud that it's not even intimidating anymore. It's like clearly just like this.
Because you're trying so hard you're so desperate,
right?
And you're so flustered that you're just shouting. Just
and the fact that they managed to capture that emotion, which is not an emotion that's like great for anybody.
Yeah,
the fact that I managed to capture that in this movie is like. Shows you how desperate and awful the situation that they're in.
Yeah, that's a good point, but because that emotion that he's showing isn't like brave or intimidating or anything like that. He's like literally like a panicked animal, like in like at the back of the hole, and that.
Yeah.
And he's just like trying to get out of that situation. But they also do a really good job too of like. This guy, the husband, is not just the kind of guy that just comes out swinging. He understands.
Unfortunately, not.
Yeah, he's also against like 4 other guys. He's not gonna win.
I think he actually, honestly,
he didn't try. It makes me so mad in this movie.
No, you know what? I disagree. Actually, I think that a big part of this this problem that he was in was that I think that he played it pretty well.
I think so too.
You think so?
I do.
Absolutely.
And
Look, Jeremy, the fact of the matter is you could not take on 3 guys. You
But
just couldn't.
If you don't try, if you don't try, if you
What, then
make
your
no
wife
effort,
and daughter get kidnapped and raped and killed? Like, that's
they get
fucking
kidnapped and raped
ridiculous.
anyway, Ben.
Because it was inevitable. This guy was
So
fucked
you
from
don't
the
do
beginning.
anything.
No, that's not the thing. He didn't not do anything. He tried his fucking hardest to try to de-escalate the
He
situation.
didn't
tried
take
to
one
figure-
swing.
Yeah, no,
He
that's not
absolutely- no,
de-escalating.
what are you talking about? He fought those people.
He pushes.
literally-
He pushes around. He tries
He
to
like
tackle.
tried to get them off of him. They were holding him back. He was like fucking struggling with the one guy while the two other guys were attacking. Jeremy, I think that if you were in this situation, you'd be completely fucked. Everybody
I'm
would
sure
be
I
completely
would. Nah, I
fucked.
wouldn't. Actually, I would never be fucked in that situation because I would have stabbed that dude in the neck,
You
Well,
would
you could have had a knife.
I
right?
would've
But the
slit
guy
that dude's
clearly
throat.
didn't have the knife.
and then I would have stabbed the other dudes too.
Yeah, but those guys had tire irons and shit. What are you gonna fight people?
They
with
didn't
tire
even hit
irons
him with
a
the
knife?
tire iron.
They
Yeah.
didn't
killed
even
his
use
wife
the
with
tire
a tire iron.
Okay, off screen. I would have slit the dude's throat.
I don't know, dude. I feel like you're like, it's really easy to sit here in our fucking chairs and be like, oh, well, I would have fought those guys. But the reality of the situation is, if 3 dudes started harassing you and your family, and you didn't just have a gun in the holster ready to
It's
shoot
fucking
them,
Texas. If I was living in Texas, I would have for sure had a gun. My wife would have had a gun. We would have shot
kid would
those
have had a
fools.
gun.
Right. But
I
the
would have
thing
slit that
is,
dude's throat at the
this
very
guy's
least.
reaction is not unreasonable. He did
It's
every-
not unreasonable, but it conveys. And the thing is, it's not unreasonable, but the movie itself actually admits that he didn't do enough throughout
Well,
the
he
entire.
feels like he didn't do enough, right? But my point is that that is unfortunate. That is an unfortunate side effect of the fact that like there was nothing that he could have done anyways. His
There's
reaction
nothing that
was
he
just
could have
as good as
done.
you stabbing one of the guys and the other 2 guys like bum rushing you and killing you, right? Like it's literally like they would have just fucking killed you on the street anyways if you stabbed one of the guys. Yes, you could die feeling like I protected my family, but this guy,
But you would
like,
have done something.
But that's not the point of the movie. The point of the movie is literally that like anybody in that situation would have been fucked, but it happened to him, and he already has insecurities about this, and so it drives him to the brink. Like that is the point of the novel.
Yeah, okay. But the other thing is that there's a separate time where he has an opportunity to re-engage those guys, and then he
And he
fucking
doesn't shoot
backs out
them
of
when
that.
they run
Yeah.
out. That's true. He
Yeah.
doesn't shoot them when they run out. And it's a
Well,
weird.
even
It's a,
there's a few different times. There's that time he doesn't shoot them when they run out. There's a time when the dude says your wife's looking for you, where he just hides in the fucking dirt.
well, that was the right move, actually.
That's the
if
right
you
move.
tell me that you were gonna go,
I
and
would
fucking
rather
hit-
die with my family than leave them
This
and hide
is
in the
this
fucking
is
dirt.
semantics.
Bullshit,
Wait,
because he got to
We're
go and
talking about
kill them.
semantics now. This has nothing to do with the movie.
We're not talking about
It is
semantics.
the
This is
movie.
what
This
happened.
this has
This
no,
is the
this is
movie.
personal beliefs and what we would do in a situation where we were gonna get attacked.
He
This- I'm
literally,
talking about
there's
the
a
movie.
conversation with Michael Shannon's character later where he goes, where Jake Gyllenhaal's character says, hey,
Yeah.
your wife's looking for you. And Michael Shannon goes, why didn't you go to them?
Yeah, why
And
didn't
he
you
goes,
go?
What he
I
answers.
don't know.
Oh, okay. Well,
He says,
and
I don't know why I didn't go. He should have gone. If it meant that he would die with his family, that's one thing. But the movie even admits it and implies as much that is the move he should have made.
I don't think. Well, no, the characters in the movie did, but I actually like that he gets to go back and kill the guys, because if he went then, he would not have been able to kill the guys.
I guess so, but
Those
I
guys
don't know,
deserve
man.
to
I would
die,
rather, but though, yeah, I that's true. You're not wrong, but I would feel worse about as that character, as the Jake Gyllenhaal character, letting my family die and hiding in the fucking dirt is worse.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, it's a terrible feeling, but the fact, like, to me, living to fight another day to avenge the family after they're dead, like at that point, I'd be like,
He doesn't
okay,
even
they
know
killed-
that's what's gonna happen. He doesn't
I
know he'll
would've
be able
known.
to fucking.
I would have definitely known. I would not have responded to that shit. I think this is the point, though. Like, it kind of gets to you as like, what would I do in this situation? Which is why this is an important conversation, because you have to think like, what would I do here? And I see, like, there's always the power fantasy of like, I could have stopped this. Like, I definitely felt that too. Like, God, do more, Jake Gyllenhaal, kill them. But like,
do more,
objectively-
yeah, do more.
But objectively,
Absolutely do more.
yeah,
You coward.
die for them, sure. Objectively,
Yes.
yeah, die for them. You be the one
Yes,
to
that's
die
what you should
instead.
have done.
But after that, when they drove him out to the middle of the desert and then he hid from them, to me, even if that's a move of cowardice,
Yes, it is.
it allowed him to go back and fucking kill the guys eventually.
That's true.
Which
And
at
so I guess it
least
works
there's
out in the
that.
terms of the story, but there's no way he would have known that he was going to even have the opportunity to go back and kill them later.
Right, but I would have taken
So it works
that as
out for the story, that's true.
Yeah, I think
But
Jake
in the moment, that's
Gyllenhaal's
still an
character
act of
probably took that
cowardice.
as certain death in the moment, though. If not, like, there's implications that he's like not like he's not a man's man. Like, I'm gonna do what's right kind of guy.
I don't think it's even an implication. I think he is a straight up coward.
Well, the thing is that this storyline in the novel, in the movie, has to happen this way because that's the entire point of the novel. Not to make you want to have him go kill these people like as soon as they put their hands on his wife or his daughter. It's the entire point of the novel is to stab someone else and cause them emotional trauma, or at least explain a part of the emotional trauma that he has out there felt.
But I guess this gets to the heart of why I didn't love this movie a lot. It was interesting, but my problem is that no one in this movie has any redeemable qualities. No one is really a great person.
That is
Jake Gyllenhaal
difficult
sucks.
to juggle.
Amy Adams' character sucks. The only person that I like in this whole movie that has redeemable qualities is the Michael Shannon character. He's awesome.
Detective Andy's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he asks the real questions. What does he ask when he meets the Jake Gyllenhaal character? He goes, so let me get this straight. None of these guys had guns. You jumped in the car with them. They forced you into the car. No, actually, I drove. Oh, you drove. Okay. They called out. They said your wife's looking for you. What'd you do? I did nothing. Why didn't you go with them? Like, he's asking all the questions that I was asking. I feel like, yes, you fucking get this. And he's got the right spirit about it too. Now, maybe it's not right to take the law into your own hands, but as the plot progresses, it's like, yes, let's be fucking aggressive and get these guys. And he pushes the Jake Gyllenhaal character to actually do the same. And that's when he sort of becomes a little bit more redeemable for me. But at the end of the day, I don't think any of these characters are really likable. And it made me hard. It was hard because I felt like there was no one to root for.
That's very interesting because I feel like for me, I wanted revenge. Absolutely. I mean, I felt the helplessness of the Jake Gyllenhaal character. I felt the inevitability of the Raven murder of his wife and daughter. I felt the frustration that he felt when he found out, and the pathetic is she okay? I remember that situation. That scene where they find the thing. It's is she okay? It's dude, no.
Yeah, I get that, and that's why I don't hate the movie, because it does feel real. I know what you're talking about. I felt the helplessness and the raw sort of tension that they're able to build with these long, drawn out scenes is really good. It really has you on the edge of your seat. So it is good, but I guess my problem with it, the reason I was wrestling with it the whole time, is I just couldn't find a character that I liked. Amy Adams' character, at some point later in the movie, she admits, oh man, I totally screwed this guy up. I totally left him in, and I never get ahead in the story, totally left him in the worst way. And you know what? It really was bad. And you find out
terrible.
how bad it was with the abortion and all that. And it's cool. So now I'm supposed to like you.
I don't think you're supposed to like any of these characters.
Shitty.
There's a couple of movies that are like this, and I have big problems with these movies too. Is if a movie doesn't have redeemable characters and there's no one to root for, then it's very difficult for me to have any kind of emotional attachment to the movie. The thing is that I think in this movie they wrote the characters in such a way that you kind of want to see these weird loops of revenge. And so one of the revenge stories is in the novel when eventually the husband Tony goes and kills these guys.
Yeah.
For raping and killing his wife and daughter. And then in the real world, I was also kind of rooting for him when you find out what Amy Adams did to the guy, the actual author, Edward, and then he basically ditches her. Yeah, he stands her up as a tiny last little bit of revenge, but then also writes this entire book dedicated to her, explaining to her how he felt in his
Well, I think
situation.
that's the ultimate point of the novel is to be a reflection of what she did to him in like much more tangible, gruesome terms.
Yeah.
Where like, oh, like, you know, and it's really interesting because it's a reflection also of how he himself, like how he feels about himself, and he writes himself as, you're right, Jeremy, he definitely has cowardice.
Yeah.
And then, you know, at the very end of the novel, he finally pulls the trigger, shoots the guy. I love that moment too, where he shoots the guy twice. He shoots him in the arm, then he shoots him in the heart.
Mhm.
And then the guy is like, "You son of a bitch!" Because like,
Oh, yeah.
if
I
you
thought
get
that was
shot in the
really
heart,
clever.
Mhm.
yeah, you don't fucking just die when you get shot.
It's true. Yeah,
And this
yeah.
guy had like a iron, like a fire iron,
Some kind
on
of
him.
piece of pipe or something like
Yeah.
that.
It was
yeah.
like a fire poker actually.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, "You son of a bitch!" After he's clearly been shot in the heart, and he's got enough energy to take one last swing and hit Jake Gyllenhaal's character in the face. And then Jake Gyllenhaal like wakes up the next day. He's got like a big gash on his face. He goes out. He's stumbling around with the gun. He's clearly disoriented. He actually shoots himself in the gut, and then he lays in the dirt and fucking dies.
Yeah.
And I think the point of the novel for Amy Adams' character after she finishes reading it is like, not only were you the thing that demonstrated my own cowardice to me, but also that version of me went out and got himself killed and no longer exists. I think that was his message to her. That's my theory, is like his message was literally like, that person is literally dead as a direct result of your actions.
Oh, that's very pointed. I didn't
That's
pick up on that.
interesting.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I don't know
so-
if I quite got that out of it, but no, that makes a lot of sense.
I guess the only reason it stands out to me like that is because, like, obviously there's an analog between, like, I'm trying to tell you that I know that I was a coward and that I was weak in this situation, and I'm telling it through a much more dramatic version of events. But you need to know the rest of the story. After your character was gone, which is in the very beginning, what happened to me? And once I took that perspective, I kind of got the impression that, like, okay, yeah, he's dead. Like, he's gone. That version of Edward is gone, which is why at the very end, not only did I find it fitting that he stood her up on the date that they had planned, but that I was totally expecting it. I was like, "There's no way the guy doesn't exist anymore. He's not gonna fucking show up." Like,
Yeah.
I'd have
if
been very
anything-
surprised if he went and met up with her and sat down.
if
Yeah,
anything,
that was-
I thought
that
they
was-
might
that was a
put
good
a
idea.
different actor or something. Like, I was somewhat thinking like, oh, maybe like it will just be somebody completely different from the Edward and the Tony that we've known throughout the whole film to kind of signify that. But the fact that he doesn't show up at all is just, like, I think even better. Like,
You never actually meet present day Edward.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
There's flashback Edward, and then there's there's Tony, which is a projection of Edward. You never actually see present day Edward in the movie, which I thought
Right.
was a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I was watching it too, like the allegory between the novel and the real world events were so poignant that I didn't really care about. And this is why I was like trying to step in, because I don't care about the events that happened in the novel. I care about what they meant. And so it was like, I was watching him being a coward in that moment, and in that moment when Tony in the novel, his wife and daughter are taken, I drew an allegory to that moment where Armie Hammer, his character, in the past has met Amy Adams, and now they're dating, and now they went and got the abortion. It's that moment right there, and you can see. And I love this movie. I love this part in the movie where they're cuddling in the car after she's gotten the abortion, and even Armie Hammer's character is like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to comfort you.
I feel
like
so
that.
useless.
I feel
he
so
says,
useless.
yeah.
And you even feel like for him, it's like, you're right. There's nothing that you can do, really. Like, this is a very serious situation. And then you see Edward standing outside the car in the rain, and you can tell
That was rough.
he's put two and two together. Like, oh
Yeah.
my God, And I was like, when I was watching it the last time, I was like, why would he be standing there? And then I was like, he's probably following his wife to see if she was cheating on him, because they don't talk too much. They don't show you a whole lot of Amy Adams and Jake Gyllenhaal in the real world before their relationship. You get really quick snippets of it, but the most of it you get through other characters. And so it's one of like 3 scenes that they have together, you know, as this scene where he's standing outside in the rain outside the abortion clinic. And so in that moment, he knows that his wife is cheating on him, and she has aborted the one thing that's tying their relationship together, or any connection that they would have together moving forward. Right. And that is fucking rough. There's not a whole lot of movies, I think, that deal with this kind of very heavy emotional impact. I mean, you could probably say like maybe Requiem for a Dream, and none of these movies make you feel good, of course.
No, yeah, and I mean, this is, I mean, not only that, but like such a movie that's so like grounded. Like I'm impressed with how like real a lot of this plot feels. Like this is kind of it's the Fargo effect, right? Where it's like, you know, this is a crime and like all the crime things need to happen. But like legit crime things. Like there's a scene where Andy's is like, you know, it's gonna take sometimes like years to like get to the bottom of this. Like I just want you to be aware of that, you know. And then like it hard cuts to like him without the beard and like he's on time.
Yeah, and he's like running and trying to just get in shape and exercise, and
clearly
he's trying to cope.
Yeah, clearly he's trying to cope, and he can't cope, obviously. And you know, I guess like for the novel aspect of the thing, it is definitely like the lion gets his heart sort of thing. Like, yeah, he obviously at least feels like he failed to protect his family. And then he finally manages to get revenge for them. And then, as all great novels do, he dies because, you know...
It's dramatic.
I mean, like, in terms of a novel,
yeah.
like, not in terms of, like, how the novel fits into the greater story, but in terms of a novel, the fact that he fucking accidentally shoots himself in the gut and just, like, dies in the desert.
It's just that extra little cherry on top of tragedy.
It's like, oh,
well,
okay.
You know,
he's actually been blinded when Kick-Ass chucked that poker at his head.
No,
right, like he
takes
his eye out.
Yeah,
but he stumbles.
Blind,
he shoots in the air, and then he stumbles and falls on the ground. He shoots himself in the stomach, and then he lays on the ground, and you hear his heartbeat until it stops.
Yeah. It is very Shakespearean. I'll give you that. Yeah, falling on your own sword like, or something, or taking taking the poison.
You know,
yeah, absolutely.
Everybody has to die. Like that guy couldn't have just like not picked up the gun and not shot himself, but like that's I guess somehow that is not as good of a novel.
Poor Tony
story,
wanders around the desert so many different times in this movie.
Like, God damn,
he's like stuck in the desert so many times,
and he dies in the desert, man.
He
dies away from home. There's no home there. Like even when they show the family in the very first scene of the novel, they're in some suburb. You know, that's not home for them. This is the wasteland. So very interesting scenery too. It's very, very different from, you know, what he's used to.
I could almost hear the author being like, and so Tony stumbled into the desert, and there was nothing there for him. You know what I mean? Like it was like it was so clear. Like poignant is a word, but like also like, you know, I take back what I said earlier, where like, why couldn't we have just watched the novel as a movie? Very potentially contrived plot if the novel itself was the only thing in the movie, but the way that it like factors into the quote unquote real world of Amy Adams' life is, I think, pretty significant and pretty meaningful. So, you know, this is kind of the Assassin's Creed movie that we deserved but didn't get in a way.
Interesting.
Oh, that's funny. I guess so. This is how it should have been done.
Okay.
I mean,
I see the tie there, I guess.
We got a lot of scenes of Michael Fassbender like running around with a big fucking metal arm attached to him.
Yeah.
When we could have gotten him sitting reading a book and then a bird flying into the window and dying.
No, true. Yeah, that would have been better. I do like those moments though too. It's like how violent the novel is. It brings the viewer and Amy Adams out of the novella and into the real world, like these snaps, almost like like a punch or something that happens in the novel will like kind of wake you up, which I thought was a really good way to transition out of it, and then you slowly get back into the novel, into the next scene.
Where you see, like, man, that scene where she calls her daughter after, like, the daughter and the mom die. She like immediately calls her daughter, and
just
it was weird. I think it was a weird scene with Tom Ford, or Tom Ford came up with a weird scene where the daughter is clearly sleeping with her boyfriend or whatever, and like they're both naked. And then the daughter answers the phone and she's like, "It's Sunday, Mom. What are you calling me for?" I was like, okay. I mean, I guess
that's what I meant.
It's very artistic.
That's what I meant when I said you could tell that a fashion designer directed this movie.
Okay. It's very artistic.
There's a lot of scenes like that where it's like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing there. Okay, very
accentuating,
aesthetic.
Right. It was so funny because like
very stylish.
The guy she was sleeping with was so built, I assumed it was Armie Hammer.
Oh God!
I know. I thought that when I saw it too. He looks like he's a fashion model.
And then she
looks
answers
like a male
the phone,
fashion model,
and she's like, "Hi, honey," and I was like, "Is Armie Hammer sleeping with their daughter?" And then it like goes back to them. I was like, "Oh, that's not Armie Hammer." Okay, never mind.
Okay, I didn't get that at all. I'm glad.
Yeah, I thought that first, and then because I was a little bit confused for a minute. Like, who is she calling?
She's calling the mistress.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I thought it was. I honestly thought it was going to be the mistress answers the phone, and then Amy Adams feels even worse.
That would be bad.
Yeah.
Is that daughter? So is that the daughter that she has with Armie Hammer?
I assume.
It's very unclear, but I think
really
the answer is yes. That's the Armie Hammer daughter.
Yeah, because again, my opinion is that she got the abortion to separate herself as far away from Edward as she can. Now there's no life tying them together,
Yeah.
It's literally just divorce papers and a title now. So
right, there's no clarification on that scene at all.
Yeah, but I don't think you really.
No, I mean you can. It definitely didn't make or break anything. I was just curious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a couple other things too. I really like this scene, and it hurts too, because I definitely get this. There's a scene where in the real world, Edward, and this is one of the flashback moments too. Edward is showing Amy Adams one of his like a passage from one of his books.
Right. I was gonna bring this scene
Dude,
up too.
And I know you guys too as artists. I know. We have shown somebody something that we're proud of, just so we can hear them say, "I like it." Right? Am I wrong? And that was this scene, and she criticizes him. She is also an artist. I mean, she went to school for all this stuff too, and so she goes into critique mode and says what she doesn't like about it, that you could have done this or this or this, and that scene. That scene was pretty rough because I was like, ugh, I've definitely done that before, and definitely gotten that response before, and been like, you could have just said you liked it. Like, I wasn't looking for you to break this down, but okay.
Right.
So,
or well, I know it's just, I don't get it, or it's not for me, or, like there's a scene where I think he said, I wrote it down actually. Cause it really got me. Do you know what it's like to put yourself out there on the line creatively, just for a loved one to tell you they don't understand it or they don't get it? I'm probably paraphrasing it a little bit, but what he's like, put yourself on the line creatively. Like, I am handing you this really,
when
important
you create,
piece of me almost.
Yeah. When you create, it's like a piece of your soul, right?
And you're handing it to not just anyone. Of course, if you show it to anyone, you hope they like it, but it's a significant other or a loved one or something like that. So it means a lot to you what they say. What they say means a lot to you. Because this is the part that I really do sympathize. I don't know how much I sympathize with the Tony character, but the Edward character I really get. And I guess they're kind of the same person. But, because Edward, he is a creator, and he is sort of deriving some of his own self-worth from Amy Adams' character and sort of her approval of him in some ways, and you know,
Right.
and to a certain extent, we all do that, you know, and so I've been right there, you know, where you're like, part of how I see myself is through your lens, you
Yeah.
know,
Mm-hmm.
and so I want you to be proud of me in a way so I can be proud of myself, you know,
Yeah.
and I want you to view me as someone who makes something of worth,
Yeah.
you know, I want you to like what I do. And so when you don't, or you don't get it, or you don't like it, or whatever, it totally deflates you.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, man, I that scene for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. So
I mean, yeah, it's a funny thing about art, right? It's like, you know, the greatest artists are the ones that are the most passionate. But also, to be a great artist, you need to be able to take criticism in stride.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how are you both extremely passionate about your art and wanting to make something extremely meaningful, and also able to just like hear when people think that it's trash, like to be like, yeah, man,
that's
that's
whatever.
cool.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
it's just, I mean, it's not that good anyway. You know, it's fine.
You know, like whatever. I
Right.
wasn't even trying that hard. It's like, no, I feel
Right,
like
you
Yeah.
deflated, or you
Mhm.
feel like the wind's been knocked out of you or something.
Mhm.
You're just like,
Yeah, I mean, it's
Well, there's
You
also-
know?
any creative has felt that way. for
Yeah.
sure.
Mhm.
Then there's a scene where, and I really like this too about the real world aspect of this movie, is there is a scene where Amy Adams is sitting down with her mom, and she's hearing her mom's disapproval of Edward, and she's like, do not marry this man. You are going to regret this for the rest of your life. He's not grounded in the real world.
Strong
He's
enough
not
for
strong
you.
enough for you. Exactly. She
Yeah.
says he's a romantic. He's too emotional. And
Right.
she's right. And she says he doesn't have the drive to give you the life that you want. And she is right. Because you
Yeah.
can see them when they're married in that scene when she critiques his work and he takes it the wrong way. They're not living with the best of materials. I mean, the house seems nice, the living room seems nice, but it's not what Amy Adams
what's
grew up with.
amazing
It's
in
not what
that
she
scene,
ended up
too?
with Armie Hammer. So
yeah.
What's amazing in that scene too is she is sitting on the same red couch that she is dead on in the novel. Did you notice that?
No, I didn't notice that.
The couch that she is sitting on is the couch that Tony finds his wife and daughter on.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
That just gave me chills.
Yeah.
I didn't
That's
know
good.
that.
I
Wow.
did. That's a good catch. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I can picture it now. I've seen this movie maybe 3 times, so I can
Yeah.
picture that.
That
Ugh, that's-
couch, man, that
Mhm.
red couch. It's because I remember I was like, that is a stark red couch. Actually, the
Hmm.
specific thought I had was, I bet the author wrote like, I saw a red couch, stark, so in front of all of its surroundings.
It would have
And
been
upon
a blood red
Yeah,
couch.
some blood red
Mhm.
couch.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, so my thought was like the author would clearly talk about the couch first, and then he would describe the bodies on top of it.
Mm.
You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like
Yeah.
that's how you do it. Like
Yeah.
that's authorship 101, right?
Right.
Authorization.
Authorization. You're gonna say, well, there's a couch, and then people are like, wow, bold couch, and upon it, whoa, there's something on it. Was my wife? Oh no, and my daughter? Oh no, stark naked. Oh no, dead. Ah! You know.
I mean, that's pretty spot on.
Yeah.
This is definitely a writing technique that you can use to drive home an
Right.
important
Yeah.
event.
Take that.
So-
Yeah. You take that as it is, Space Captain Kit. When you're writing your first novel, you go ahead and use that. You can credit me in the
in the
foreword.
credits.
No, in the
Right.
foreword, man. Come on, for Ben.
The
Thank
for Ben,
you.
or is it FOR Ben?
Thank you in advance.
No. The foreword for the number Ben.
Okay, it's not spelled that way. What are you talking about? You're using
Anyways.
3 different kinds of 4.
All right,
Oh my
for
God.
for FOR, for FORE,
Yeah.
for FOUR, Ben.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
In advance.
I'll take the credit now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get to that definitely. But yeah, anyways. So that was one of my favorite scenes, that entire thing, cuz I definitely draw a lot of like comparisons to my own life with that too. It's like I mean, I find a lot of similar characteristics to Edward. You know, it's kind of it's kind
well,
of
being a creative, yeah. I
uncomfortable.
mean, it's not hard to see it.
And he is right. He's when Jeremy, that line that you gave, you're putting yourself on the line creatively.
Yeah.
You know, it's tough. It's very difficult to like say like, hey, there's this thing that I made, and you're putting it out there. You're expecting someone to critique it, you know, and they may not like it, but you don't want to hear that. You want someone, especially someone that you
and
you care a
more
lot about. You want them to
importantly,
like it.
right, and it's not like it's just anyone that you're showing this to. You know, it's this person who means so much to you.
Your
Right.
wife, who's supposed to support you.
You know, and it's like I already said this, but it's like, you know, because you derive so much of your value, whether this is a good idea or not, whether this is a proper way of seeing yourself. I think everyone does it to a certain extent. You
definitely.
derive some of your value from how your significant other, much less your wife, sees you.
Yeah.
And someone like this
Easily.
character, and again, we can all I think we can relate to varying extents. It's like, yeah, I think we're all a little bit self-conscious in our own ways. You know, we're
Yeah, man.
self-conscious, and we want the validation of our significant others, our wives, for that matter. You know, and so to not only not get that, but then to have your heart kind of torn out like that. It's like,
Jeez,
dude.
it reminds me of the first time I ever posted a video to YouTube. I was playing I played a Blink-182 song on guitar, and I sang along to it. I must have been in like freshman year of high school or something like that. And somebody posted a comment on this video, some stranger, that was like, "Never play guitar again."
Wow. Okay.
Are you kidding me? Oh man,
right.
that's a horrible.
And
point.
like, I remember, because when you're 14, it's even worse, right? I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal is at least in his 30s. When you're 14 and somebody says something like that to you, like, it really hits you, you know? I was like, oh my God. And that was a complete stranger. I remember I used to play guitar for my mom and sing, you know, for her. If she had been the one that was like, never play guitar again, like, I could only.
What if it was her? What if it was her?
Oh my God, she posted the YouTube comment. Oh! But yeah, I mean, just like a total stranger on the internet saying that to me at 14 years old was like very formative. So I can only imagine, you know, marrying somebody and desperately trying to like carve out a piece of the creative world for yourself through your writing, and somebody being like, I don't know, my mind began to wander. That's not a good sign, right? Like, I can only imagine how gutting that critique would feel, even though like it's very easy to say like, oh, artists need to be able to take critiques in stride and stuff like that, but I mean, like, you know, it's challenging, and people put a lot into art, and to like have a loved one critique so forwardly is I'm sure very, very awful to experience, you know, regardless of how confident you are in your own I guess like abilities.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, like I said, sometimes all you want to hear is someone say, I like this.
Yeah.
And that's it. You're not looking for how do I make this better or anything like that. Sometimes you just give someone something and you just want to hear affirmation, and you just want to be acknowledged. And he doesn't get that and kind of breaks down. But I mean, at that time in the movie though, he also proves her mom right, which I think is really cool, because you have
it's a good point. Yeah.
These flashback scenes, which they don't happen a whole lot. A lot of it is based around the present real world, quote unquote, and the novel. Right. And you have, like I said, maybe 3, maybe 4 flashback scenes.
Yeah.
You know, where you kind of delve into their past a little bit. So the fact that they're able to be tied together so well, I think was really, really interesting. So, because they happen pretty spread out through the movie.
And she really becomes the thing that she hated.
She
It is
says she doesn't want to
amazing.
become like her mom, and she is.
Yeah, she becomes pretty much the thing that she hated. Her mom even tells her, like, "Oh, all these things that you think are bourgeois, that you call bourgeois or whatever,
Yeah,
you
that
take
term
for
you love
granted.
so much. That line.
Yeah,
Term you
you're
love so
going to
much.
want those things, and her mom, even though her mom is totally cynical, kind of a cynical
Oh yeah,
bitch,
she's kind of a bitch.
she
Her
ends
mom's
up
a horrible person. Yeah.
she ends up being right about the fact that is what she ends up choosing.
Mhm.
She does end up choosing that, and she does live in this pretty hollow, sort of superficial world of like fashion and art, of upscale, fashion and
Right.
art, with a bunch of hollow, shitty people.
Right.
Mhm.
But Jeremy, thank God she's there and not in the real world where things are so much worse.
Right. Yes. Exactly. As we find out, and it is kind of true. Like, her troubles. Well, for one thing, a lot of them are of her own doing.
Right.
Why does she feel she's not getting any sleep, and she feels depressed, and this is she put herself there. And Edward, with all of his flaws, she could have been with him.
Mm-hmm.
And she could have experienced the real world. So all these problems that she faces externally, she's got it made. She lives in this freaking mansion. And I like that they make the mansion as depressing of a mansion as possible. It's
very
this
dark.
really beautiful place, but how it's so dark. It looks
Mhm.
like this is not a place you would ever want to spend the night. Like,
Yeah.
Even though it's a
Yeah.
beautiful house and it's gorgeous, it also is like, dude, this place is depressing to look at.
Mhm.
She comes home to this beautiful, gorgeous, empty house that is all dark and stuff, and it's got this art that's all dark.
Yeah.
And it just kind of makes you realize, like, man, she kind of she has it made, but her life does kind of suck,
Mhm.
and it is kind of her fault.
She has what she wants, but not what she needs.
That's a
Just
good
like
way
the
to put it.
Joker.
There's a very interesting thing that happens at the beginning of this movie too. When she receives the package from Edward, which is the proof of his novel, she
Right.
cuts herself on it.
Oh yeah,
Right.
she gets
Remember
paper
that?
cut.
She gets that paper
Yeah.
cut.
Yeah.
I just thought about that. I was like, it's very interesting that this entire thing is just that Edward. It's just malice.
Mhm.
That's all that it is.
Yeah.
It's just
all it's
pointed
gonna
malice.
do is hurt her. That's kind of right. Like that's the message.
Yeah.
This is going
Yeah.
to hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm in town until Wednesday.
Let's go grab a drink. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And I think that's another reason you can tell this movie was made by someone who works in the industry. Like, if anyone knows about this hollow existence,
It's
I was
it would
actually
probably
about
be
to
this
ask
guy
that.
who has had a whole career in this world.
I was about
I
to
guess
ask that. Like, what do
potentially,
you? I'm interested to. I want to see if there's an interview about it, about why Tom Ford chose this story to make a movie out of. Because like
he
we've been
must
saying,
identify with a lot of
Yeah.
the themes of it.
Yeah, because Tom Ford is hugely successful. Like he's like one of the most famous people in the fashion industry.
Yeah.
And he saved Gucci back in the 90s, like I opened with. So I mean, he's a huge character. So I'm interested to see why he chose this story in particular, because it's
a life of crime.
He's not Bruce Wayne.
Sorry.
But I think
interesting.
that some of the movie seems like it's it's his own commentary on that world
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
that he's probably lived in.
Yeah, especially because it opens up on that really weird intro,
Yeah.
with the art piece, and you even have the main character who says, like, I don't even get this. I don't understand why this is
Right.
significant. And this is my job, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. Very interesting. So
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, ultimately it's a movie about somebody who's this is like, talk about like breaking up with somebody and then watching this movie. I feel like this is the worst movie to watch after you just broke up with somebody, right?
after you did the breaking up, yes.
After you did the breaking up, yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Because you're like, I'm Amy Adams. Oh my God.
Oh.
God.
They're Jake Gyllenhaal. They're gonna
You were
kill
George
somebody.
Gyllenhaal.
It's like, yeah, it's a brutal emotional experience to go through this movie and kind of feel those things I think a lot of us have felt, especially the creative moments, but also just the like relationship moments of like, did I make the right call? Did I do the right thing? Is the life I'm living now better as a result of my choices? And I think as a result of all of those things, like this movie just really, really captures a very human piece of expression that is often overlooked, which is really that of, you know, brutal regret.
Yeah, I was gonna say regret.
Yeah. Even with lack of evidence, right? I mean, it's really easy to regret things, even if you have a lack of evidence that like, oh, sure, I should have, you know, it's like, oh, I did this thing and I regret it. A lot of people feel that, but like maybe the thing that I didn't do would have been even worse. And I think most of us miss that. But I mean, this movie definitely, it's like it hammers home that like, well, you know, no matter what you did, you were doomed anyways. You know, it's such a brutal, dark take on regret. It's like,
it is,
all of your choices were bad and you deserve to die in the desert. I don't know.
And also, you can even try and make it right, but you might still get punished for it. It might not work. Like, you know, at the very end of the movie,
she tries to make it
thinks maybe I have a second chance here.
And you know,
no,
funny?
you don't.
You know, what's funny is
no, you don't.
After the first guy, dies, after they kill Lou, that exact same sentiment is expressed where where Jake Gyllenhaal's character, you know, breaks down. He's like, I don't give a fuck that he's dead. I'm glad that he's dead. But I should have done more. I should have done something. And I think that's like, you know, the inevitability of like you know, that's something that really speaks to me. It's like, sometimes you make decisions and like, they feel like the thing is, right, like, even if we could restart our lives a million times, if we didn't have the benefit of like, you know, hindsight, we would make the exact same decisions. Like, no matter how many times you go back in time, if you don't carry your hindsight with you, you're just going to end up in the exact same place all over again.
Sure.
And I think that's one of those things. It's like an inevitability kind of thing. It's like, yeah, I mean, like, you know, my regret was inevitable because the decisions that I made in the moment were the decisions that I would have always made with what I was and who I was and what I knew at the time. And so, like, for him to break down and be like, God damn it, you know, like, I should have stopped them, I should have done better and everything. It's like the ultimate expression of like regret. And then immediately after the scene where he kills the guy and dies in the desert, we get Amy Adams going to the restaurant hoping to meet Edward again. And the whole thing is, again, an expression of like, you are going to carry that weight. You are going to experience that regret for the rest of your life. And it's just as inevitable for you that you're going to experience that regret as it is for Tony. You can sit there crying, stomping the ground, like, God damn it, I wish I could do things differently. I wish I could make things better. I wish I could make things right. But, like, I don't have that opportunity. And it doesn't matter because all you're going to feel in that moment is regret. And that is a brutal reality that Tom Ford managed to capture. And it's a reality that I have certainly felt.
For sure.
But, like, you know, because of that, like, you have to commend the movie because it's like, goddamn, you know, like, this is just, that is an emotion that you don't necessarily want to feel, but when somebody does it well, like, it's impactful. And this movie was definitely impactful.
Yeah. Should we give our scores?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Really quick before we give our scores, I wanted to touch on something that I really, really like that they did. So we start off in the beginning of the movie. We know that Armie Hammer is Amy Adams' current husband. So the entire the scenes where they're setting up their relationship and how she cheated on him is two very, very, very quick scenes with Armie Hammer. The first one is in the lecture hall when she turns around and sees him and he's staring at her in the lecture hall. That's it. And then the next scene is he's comforting her when she goes and gets the abortion. That's it. I love how they did that so quickly. Like, you already know that he's the husband. You don't need to show them getting together. That's not important in the story. So I just wanted to talk about the pacing of this movie. Pacing of the movie was fantastic. I touched on it a little bit. The way that they bring you out of the novel very, very abruptly and violently, and then they ease you back into it, where it kind of just transitions back into the novel story, was fantastic. I thought that was great. I also really liked how they had, obviously it makes a ton of sense, but I liked how Edward and Tony, both the real world and in the novel, they're both Jake Gyllenhaal. I thought that was really cool because, again, it just drives, and he's the only person. Yeah, he's the only person that is in both worlds. Everyone else is.
That's not true. No, worlds as well, right?
No. That's but it is a person with red hair, which is very, very important notice. But it's she's been in a ton of stuff.
Okay, I wasn't sure actually because I had the same thought in Ben. I thought.
No, it's Isla Fisher. Is it the wife?
It is.
It
is
Isla
Isla
Fisher.
Fisher.
Isla Fisher.
Right.
There you go. Thank you. I never know.
Yeah. I had the same thought. Like, is that Amy?
But what about
Adams
the
in both
daughter?
too?
Isn't the daughter the same?
No,
And I thought the daughter
daughter's
was might be
also
the same
different.
in both too.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. So
Interesting.
That's Ellie Bamber, and then in the real world, it's Kristen Bauer von Stratton, I think.
Wow, I didn't pick up on that. I totally.
Oh
missed
no,
that.
it's India.
And they cast
India Manuez
actresses that look similar to each other.
They did.
Like
They absolutely
the
did.
daughter in the novel looks very similar to the real daughter she has.
Now, to be
And
fair,
the
Amy
wife
Adams.
looks,
She's
is-
projecting.
Well, yeah, she's projecting, but also Amy Adams is much older than Isla Fisher, which makes sense. I thought they did some like CGI thing, but I guess I just assumed that as opposed to just them having different people. But then Isla Fisher, who is the young Amy Adams? Is that still Amy Adams?
Yeah.
That's very fascinating because the young Amy Adams and the Isla Fisher look so similar together.
Probably just makeup, lighting.
Yeah, and I
mean,
guess
you only see her at.
he could
at
have gone
night.
either way, right? Because you could have had Amy Adams be the wife in the novel as well,
Yeah.
right? If Jake Gyllenhaal's the same in both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm not mad at it. It could have gone either way, I guess.
Especially
I don't
after
know.
she finds out that they both died and then she calls her daughter. It's like it feels that's very interesting. The
Yeah.
fact that they cast people that looked so similar together in those movies or in those roles.
Mhm.
Man, that
helps
blows
it
my
helps
mind
you
that
really
Jake Gyllenhaal-
yeah, it really helps you kind of bridge the what's it fucking called? It starts with an A. Allegory. The fact
Yeah.
that the novel is an allegory to how he felt in real life. So
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
and I think I figured out why I give movies 10s. I figured it out. So a 10 could a 9 and a 10 can both be the perfect movie. They can be acted, written, all that stuff. But the 10, in my opinion, is the emotional connection that you have with the movie. And so for me, this movie is one of my it's on my list of perfect movies. This is an absolute 10 because of the emotional connection that I drew with this movie, especially when I first watched it, and the way that it like impacted me. And I was like, holy shit, like this isn't even like good. These impacts hurt because these are real. These happen. Even the stuff in the novel, that stuff happens,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's pretty bold what they did, especially the fact that the daughter gets raped and killed too is
Yeah.
that's rough, dude. So
Horrible.
it's all rough. So yeah, 10 out of 10. Yeah, I think it's just a perfect movie. So I really like this movie.
I would have to agree, honestly. I think this is a perfectly done movie. I think it's a 10 out of 10. It's certainly not a movie that I'm like itching to rewatch necessarily.
Yeah, don't worry.
But honestly, it's really fucking good. It like they killed it. Everything is solid. The soundtrack is good. The characters do really well. Obviously, I don't think many of the characters are very likable, but just the story that's told is very human.
Mhm.
And it's also something that like it touches on some themes that I think have impacted me greatly in the past, especially the concept of the regret and everything. That like, man, brutal movie, fantastically done. I would also have to give it a 10 out of 10 just in terms of like, the
You were getting a little bit glitchy yourself, Danon, a couple times.
Am
Is
I?
it- Yeah,
didn't
a
notice
couple
that.
times.
Weird.
When you were
I'm
talking, you were just kind of getting all matrixy.
really weird, huh? Because yeah,
Yeah.
No,
I,
it looks like we're back.
Yeah, I restarted it. So sorry for the stream issues that I'm having. It must be the new place. Maybe I need to go back to my old router because I've noticed that if I'm hard plugged in with this router, it gets a little bit squirrely sometimes. So maybe I should go back to my old one, which is weird because it's the stock one that comes with what's it called?
Oh, that's weird.
So
It looks like we paused. Oh, there we go.
are we back? Okay, sorry. Okay, we're still getting through all that shit. Okay. All right, Jer, what's yours?
You know what? I'd probably have to give this movie an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
I liked it. I did think it was really well paced. Something that I liked that I didn't just a little detail that bothered really well. Sometimes in revenge movies or with movies with revenge plots, it takes way too long for the good guy to end re-interaction with the people he's trying to get revenge on.
Mhm.
I like that pretty early on he gets to look Lou in the face,
Right.
and fairly early on he gets to, they don't really beat around the bush so much. When Lou comes back in and he's been arrested, he gets to basically tell him, I call it the Inigo Montoya moment.
Oh yeah, you killed my father. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes movies take way too long for that Inigo
Inigo Montoya.
I don't even know his name, so you're doing better than I can.
Montoya moment. That's my own. I coined it. It's mine.
Yeah.
Sometimes movies take too long
Padre,
for those moments to happen, and I like that this one kind of got to it fairly quickly. No, it's an 8. The only thing that, oh hey, Daryl.
Hello, and my nose is bleeding.
Your nose is
Oh,
bleeding.
nice.
Your nose is bleeding.
Yeah,
Nice.
my nose-
Did you get punched by Ray?
Did you get punched by emotions?
Ray.
Well, Jeremy just gave this movie an 8. He said that he was really happy that the Inigo Montoya moment didn't take too long to happen.
Yeah, right. Hey, that's a good one.
That is a good one. I do like that.
Glad that you like that.
You can coin it
But,
all you want.
I never
don't
thought
know.
of it that way.
Yeah. But there are a couple things that I didn't totally love that they don't kill it for me, but I do
What didn't
think
you
some of
totally
the scenes, there are a few scenes, especially when Jake Gyllenhaal is wandering through the desert a few times. I think they go on a bit long.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
It artsy.
it's art housey shit, and
Yeah.
I'd get tired of the art housey shit, and it happens a little bit too much in this movie. Also, there's a bunch of weird scenes, like there's scenes where Amy Adams is like taking a shower, and there's like a minute long scene of her just in the shower or something.
I
winding
don't
it
know what
in
you're
the
talking about.
Walking
I
up
mean,
a winding
I
staircase.
really enjoyed
and-
those scenes, but
Yeah.
didn't like
Listen,
them. I guess I can
People
understand.
get dirty, Jeremy. People need to get clean. And
And we
sometimes
need
they
to,
get
and
filmed.
you know what? Damn it, we need to see art housey footage of it.
There was
I-
a lot of naked Jake Gyllenhaal for sure.
Was there?
Yeah, so
I
there's
feel like
just
I
a
watched
few
a
too
different
many.
movie.
There was at least a minute and a half of naked Jake Gyllenhaal.
There's naked Jake Gyllenhaal.
Is he completely naked? I know there's shirt. There's
I
a lot of
just watched
shirtless.
this movie. I don't
Jake
remember
Gyllenhaal.
any of this. I guess I
He
just
takes a
didn't-
bath and then he's sitting on the bath, depressed in the motel, and he's
Yes,
Well,
scenes
we've
like
all
that.
done that.
There's just
Yeah.
a few too many scenes
did
like that
that.
for my taste. Just for me. I know everyone's
Did
very
you do that
different.
on your motorcycle ride?
That's
Yeah.
You sit naked and depressed on the edge of the tub.
Well, Daryl, you didn't participate at all in this conversation. So, what do you rate the movie?
Man, I give this movie a. This is sort of tough. No, it's not. I give it a hard 9.
Nice.
Okay.
I really, I mean, it's not something I like to watch a lot. Watch a lot because it's such a gut punch for me.
Yeah.
But I think is a and coming from Tom Ford, who's a fashion designer or something.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was really, it made me, I think that's, and that shouldn't have a bearing on it, but let's get real. This stuff kind of does, right?
Yeah.
I'm more impressed because it's a guy who's just a fashion designer and made
Yeah.
such a powerfully emotional film. I guess when I watch this movie, it makes my chest hurt. It's
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
emotional for me. It's so heavy. Her betrayal is so horrible.
Yes.
That's one of the
You
things
know?
I brought up is that
Yes.
scene when he's standing outside the abortion clinic and sees her
It's
with Army
just-
Hammer. Yeah, it's fucking
rough.
Brutal, man.
It's
Yeah.
just brutal, man. That is one of the hardest scenes to watch. And this whole odd story really that he writes, which is really about this whole relationship with his wife somehow,
Oh,
I thought-
100%. Yeah.
Right. Dan was saying it's kind of an allegory.
Yeah, Ben dropped this atomic bomb on Jeremy and I, where he says that there's a scene where Amy Adams is critiquing one of his works in the real world, you know?
Yeah.
And she's sitting on this red couch. And in the novel, when he finds the bodies of his wife and daughter, they're laying on a red couch.
Yeah.
It's the same red couch. Yeah.
Same red couch.
Which is
Pretty crazy.
I didn't know that.
That's crazy.
That's pretty crazy.
It's the death of his aspirations, I guess, in the real world, and the death of his loved ones in the novel.
Well, you know, they say never to choke on your aspirations.
Oh, I choke on
Thanks, Darth Vader
aspirations
from
all the time.
Rogue One.
Fuck, I hate that so much. I
Yeah.
hated that joke.
And
so much.
there's our Star Wars. There you go.
Hey, we didn't talk
Fucking
about Star Wars this
circle.
whole time.
Now you made me mad. What I really hated about that was everyone told me, "Oh, but that's something Darth Vader would say." Like, no, he wouldn't.
Okay,
Anakin
well, hold on.
Skywalker,
I want to end this
pod racing
podcast.
would.
Yeah,
You're
we
right,
gotta,
Adam.
we gotta end the
we gotta
podcast,
end this.
Harold.
So
You don't get
I
to
brought
just
you.
fuck off until the rating segment
Yeah.
and come in here with your Darth Vader
Yeah,
shit.
deal with
All
your
right.
drama some other time. Okay, this is podcast time. Okay.
No, I think that Darth Vader, choking aspirations, is an allegory for the film.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, what about his wife? His wife
Ooh,
died.
Spicy.
There we
Yeah,
go.
right.
There's a bridge.
There
He
you go.
died of giving up.
Yeah.
Remember that?
God
She is.
damn
I love the
it.
robot comes out. She has lost her will. That's not a reason to die.
All right.
All right. So, anyways,
Listen.
Go ahead.
so you give this a 9. I wanted to. I figured out what my rating scale is, and I'll just reiterate for you. If a movie is a 10, that means a movie can be a 9 and a 10 because they're both perfect. A movie can be a 9 because it's perfect writing, characters, dialogue, all that stuff. But it gets a 10 from me because of the emotional impact. So that's why I gave this movie a 10, because of the way this movie makes you feel, and not only on top of it being a perfect movie. I do agree with some of the points that you gave, Jared, where like these are not likable characters, but I think the movie does that in such a way that you're not supposed to, and they do it they do it in a way that is well done. You know, because I also don't like that. Like I said earlier, I don't like when you don't have a redeemable character or a character that you can root for, because
I felt like there wasn't one really
it's
good
tough.
person.
I think the only person that
Rebel.
you really probably could would be Edward, you know, and that final scene at the end,
Yeah,
after
actually,
you learn what Amy Adams' character did to him, and then he stands her up at the end of the movie, you know, and it's that final little fuck you to her, where you're
That's
just like,
true.
yeah.
Edward might
But-
be the guy you could say you could root for.
He's also
actually.
barely in the
Yeah.
movie, you know.
Not Tony, but Edward.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
He's
sure.
barely in the movie. It's always
Is
Tony.
he in-
So
Oh yeah, you're right. It's in flashbacks too.
yeah,
You
and
know,
there's
Yeah,
only
We
like
don't
4
see
flashback scenes.
present day. We don't see present day Edward.
Yeah,
That's
No.
what I was
So-
saying.
yeah.
One
which
of
I
my
really
favorite
like.
scenes, really quick, is the scene between her and her mom.
Yeah, we were talking about that too. Mhm.
Really powerful.
When she says that he's romantic and he's not strong enough for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really quick, I'll tell you why I give it a 9 instead of a 10, because I would say like her is a 10 for me. Her is an absolute 10,
Mhm.
hands down 10. Every time I watch it, and her is like, it was one of those movies. It's like the painting of the dogs playing poker. Every time I see it, I see something new. And her is the same way. Every time I watch it, I feel like I get something else out of it.
Okay.
You know, Blade Runner for me is a perfect 10. Empire Strikes Back is a perfect 10. E.T. is a perfect 10. So as much as I love this movie and as great as I think it is, it's not a full 10 for me.
That's
Because
what
it's
you would
not
say is
her.
a 10. So a
I'd
10,
say-
you're able to get something else out of it every time you watch it.
Maybe that's part of it.
Okay.
You know, it's hard to say. I just watched like a week or so ago. I rewatched director's cut of Blade Runner. I wouldn't say if I got anything more out of it, but I just reaffirmed why I love the film so much, how powerful it is, how
Yeah.
beautifully shot it is. Just everything about it is just amazing. So
Cool. Well,
it's not perfect for everybody, right? But it is for me. But
Right.
Well, I think that's what a 10 is. It's like it's perfect for you specifically.
Yeah.
A
Mhm.
9 is like anybody should watch this. A
Yeah.
10 is like anybody should watch this. And if you like me, you better fucking watch this movie because
I
Yeah.
think that's where mine comes from too, because like again, it's the emotional connection that I make with the movie is the 10. That's why Lord of the Rings movies are 10s for me, and then that also plays into it a little bit too. Like every time I watch those movies, I could get something new out of it. I think it was like maybe the 50th time I watched the first movie, And this is right after Frodo gets stabbed on Weathertop, and they bring him to that little like clearing in the forest, and they pull back, and you can see the three trolls from The Hobbit. That took me about 50 times watching that. You know, and I was just like sitting there, you know, threw it on a Friday or whatever, and I happened to look over, I was like, oh, those are the trolls, you know, because they don't. In the extended edition, they actually go like, ooh, look at the trolls, but in the theatrical,
they really?
the theatrical is better. Yeah, this is why the
Oh,
theatrical
I
is
thought
better.
you
You like the
said it was
theatrical
better.
version better?
I do like it better. Okay,
Interesting.
Wow.
the first Lord of the Rings, the extended edition, has just shit you don't need. This is why a movie needs to be edited. This is why you need to edit the Justice League, because you don't need 4 fucking hours of movie. And so that's why, like, the first Lord of the Rings, you need to edit out a bunch of the extra shit. You don't need to see the elves leaving and going to the Grey Havens in the first one. You get that in the third one. There's just a bunch of extra faff. But in the second and third movies, there is actual important dialogue and scenes that they removed to make the movie faster that I think are important for bridging gaps. For one, in the extended edition in the third movie, you actually get to see Saruman die. Because in the theatrical releases, he just disappears. And then in the second movie, there's a scene where they're pulling the king's son out of the river, and they're like, find the king's son. And then they find out that Saruman has betrayed him and send Uruk-hai to go, you know, there's a lot.
So your
I could go on about this forever.
viewing of the trilogy is theatrical for the first, extended for the second and third.
Yes.
Okay.
That is
interesting.
always how I will like say, if you're going to watch the extended, you got to watch theatrical first one, extended second and third. That's the way to do
I'm
it.
theatrical for all 3. I have them on Blu-ray, and that's the ones I like the best. All 3 theatrical. The 2 and 3, the extended. It's too. You want to think about faff? I get faffed out on those movies.
That is a faffed movie. I will
Faffed
tell you
up.
that. Yeah.
I get faffed out.
So.
So.
All right. Well, that is Nocturnal Animals. Thank you, Dad, for being in the beginning and the end. At least we got your
Okay.
rating, you know?
Yeah.
So-
Bookender.
The alpha and the omega.
The
Yeah,
bookender.
but I think you and I have talked about this movie enough where I've hit on all the points that you would normally bring up. During
Yeah,
this movie.
I think we're pretty much in agreement on this film and all the stuff we like about it too.
Yeah.
So
So cool. Well, that's Nocturnal Animals. Very, very good movie. If you're ever alone and you want to not feel good, watch this movie.
Don't watch this movie on a first date.
Do not. Just don't watch this movie with other people. It's
yeah,
not fun.
I think it's a
Totally,
watch
hell
alone
yeah.
movie.
it's
It's
not
a watch
fun.
alone movie
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. Like
Unless you
it's,
want to have a co-person to be miserable with.
it's pretty rough, dude. I couldn't. I don't know. I can't
We
watch
can
movies
wallow together,
like
you
this
know.
with another person. Like Her. I remember I was gonna watch Her with you, Dad. When I was first telling you about it, I'm very, very glad that we couldn't get that download to work because
Yeah, because it was better I just watched alone.
I'm
'cause
scared of that
yeah.
movie.
I-
You know, I still haven't
um,
seen it.
you're scared of
Oh,
it.
really?
I'm scared of being I'm scared of the emotions that I know it will
Well,
bring.
That's why
I-
her is best
I know it
alone, so
will.
you can cry by yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I-
I
Multiple
did not
times.
like that movie.
Yeah, Ben
I
hated
know that I probably will
I
cry.
still don't like that movie.
I've heard the music from that movie, and
Oh,
I know
it's
that
so
Yeah.
good. It's so
I've
good.
heard the
The
music, and
the
that
music
alone.
is good.
Oh,
The music is very good. The
Arcade
movie
Fire.
is like very mediocre.
I tell you what, Scarlett Johansson is the hottest robot I've ever heard in my life, and I would absolutely fall in love with her too.
Mhm.
As a
You kind of
robot.
do in that movie. You kind of
Yeah.
do.
You really do.
So.
No, except for Ben. Ben doesn't like.
I honestly, like
robots.
even Scarlett Johansson's voice was not enough to make me fall. in love
Really,
with that
I thought it was like
robot.
perfect, adorable, fun, funny.
We could
She was the
revisit
perfect
this
robot
movie
robot.
on this podcast if we wanted to. I mean, I'd
I know, right?
absolutely do it again.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
I
I
just,
could bring the fresh,
You could
never
bring
seen
the
perspective.
fresh
Yeah.
pair of eyes.
I haven't seen it in a while yet. Really quickly on the acting and the actors too. The acting is top notch in Nocturnal.
Hell
Animals.
yeah.
Oh,
Everyone
Yeah,
is
very
fucking
good.
Hell
fantastic.
yeah.
Oh,
It is so good in that.
Ben's been hitting it out of the park with like the little things that he noticed about this movie. But he pointed out an emotion that is very hard to portray. Like I don't think I've ever seen this, but you've definitely felt this. Is where his wife and daughter are being abducted in the novel, and it's starting to get very hands-on, and people are like starting to push each other around. And then Jake Gyllenhaal gets up into that guy Ray's face and screams at him, but he's not tough. You know,
Yeah.
he's panicked and afraid.
it's like a shrill,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Top of the lungs, like Like
know,
as soon as
like
you're
when
done, with that sentence, your voice is shot. That kind of scream. Like that. He does that, and he gets up into his face, but never touches him, and then immediately
Yeah.
backs
it's
off.
such a
Very good.
real human thing to do.
Yeah. Well, especially
And
when you're a guy that's not used to having to confront other dudes
yeah.
and fight them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Fantastic movie. We could go on and on. But, I think we hit all the major parts. So, we need to figure out what our next movie is for next week. Does anybody have any ideas?
No.
I don't think anything's coming out soon.
Did you guys have you guys
Oh,
heard
wait,
about
wait, wait.
Nobody?
Wait, what's the I have not heard of
That's what
Nobody.
we should watch. Is that the one with Bob Odenkirk?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he
Oh.
kicks
It
ass.
looks
or something.
really
Let's watch
good.
that. Let's watch that.
Is it out? Can we watch it, though?
I don't know.
It is
Let's
out.
look this up.
It's in theaters.
It's in theaters,
It's in
yes.
theaters.
But
I don't know if it's streaming anywhere.
On demand April 16th. On demand where? On demand Friday. Oh, it's out in theaters now, but excuse me. It's gonna be on HBO, just so we can say yes, we can watch this.
Wait, but there's also another movie that I wanted to watch.
Christopher Lloyd's in this.
On demand.
Yeah,
I
it's
wonder
got it's got a really cool cast. It's Christopher
Michael
Lloyd,
Ironside's in this. Isn't
Michael Ironside,
This
Bob
is-
Odenkirk.
This is definitely one of the trailers where I watched maybe a minute of it and I was like, all right, I'll watch this, and I ended the trailer. I was like, I'm just gonna.
And it's got the John Wick dude directing.
Oh, okay.
So the action's gonna be badass.
Yes.
More than likely.
And
The
it's gonna be
action's
weird seeing Bob Odenkirk in that role because he doesn't do that.
I read he spent a solid year
Really?
prepping for the combat in this because he wanted to avoid using a stunt double as much as possible.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently he put in a lot of physical work into this movie.
It
Ooh,
just
my
says
itchy mind's
yeah, I don't
freaking
think it's
out.
out yet. We'd have to go.
Yeah.
It's in the theaters.
Where can you watch
I
Nobody movie
doubt that I'm gonna
online?
be able to see the movie in the theaters at least until May.
Oh, okay, I don't.
Well, we can come back. This we can figure out.
Yeah, okay. I mean,
I saw there
another
was
time.
another new movie on HBO Max that had a famous actress in it, but I can't remember what it was called.
I might see it in theaters, to be honest with you guys.
It does look like a cool movie. It said a lot of people are saying it's supposed to come out online around mid-April, and people are saying the 16th, which is this Friday. So we'll just keep you updated. Because if we could do this movie, I would like to do this one.
If you want to go, unless you're gonna go with a girl or something, by all means, don't go with me. But if you want to go see it, Jeremy,
Okay, yeah.
I haven't been in the theater in forever, even pre-COVID, because I hate people.
Yeah, I
the
saw
theater, but-
the last Christopher Nolan movie. That's the last time I was in the
Tenet?
theater.
Oh,
Tenet.
yeah. I still haven't slogged through that pig.
Yeah, it's not good. Wait,
It's
Ben,
a
what was the
lot.
movie that you wanted to do?
I can't find it right now. I have to go check on my Apple TV probably, but there was a movie that was I saw it was released alongside Godzilla versus Monkey. And
I like that you bothered to call the lizard Godzilla.
Hello.
But
He gets the honor.
But Kong is still just monkey.
Yeah.
Godzilla versus Monkey. But I will let you guys know what that movie was. It had an actress that we all like in it. I just can't remember which one.
Okay, cool. So yeah, if we can watch Nobody on Friday, then we'll probably do that. If not, then Ben, if you want to figure out what that movie is.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. So yeah, you can follow us on WLT Podcast on Instagram. You can click on the link below and then follow us in Discord, so you can get all the updates. Still the day before, because I can't fucking remember. So just follow us and there you go. And then every Tuesday 7:30 Central we are on YouTube, which is where y'all are watching this now. Cool. And hopefully there's gonna be less connection problems next time.
Look at the so I'm using the lights I'm using are set at 50.
Okay, bye everybody.